This is your ultimate guide to Grand Cayman. If you are headed to Grand Cayman anytime soon, you're gonna wanna save this video. In this video, we're gonna talk about car rentals, where to stay on the island, and just a breakdown of the island in general.
Some of our must-dos, our favorite restaurants, and some other things to keep in mind. Highly recommend renting a car in Grand Cayman, but keep in mind that they do drive on the opposite side of the road as the United States do, and some of the vehicles, the steering wheel is also on the opposite side. So it takes a little bit of getting used to, but everyone drives slow. It's a very safe place to drive, and so you eventually will catch on within like the first day or two. Another thing to note is a lot of the Airbnb and VRBO hosts have relationships with the rental car places, and so our VRBO host sent us a 15% off discount code with Hertz. So when we showed up to Hertz, we just mentioned where we were staying, and they were able to take 15% off of the bill.
Next up, let's talk about where to actually stay on the island. So you could either rent a house via Airbnb or VRBO, or just stay in a hotel.
Something to mention is the price difference. We would recommend that you look into a rental, Airbnb, VRBO, to get more value for your dollars. The hotels in Grand Cayman are absolutely beautiful, but they can be extremely pricey. We're talking $300 to $900 per room per night, plus taxes, plus resort fees, and in the high season, it can even be more than that. Whereas you could get an entire VRBO rental, maybe it's a 3-bedroom home that sleeps 6 people for around $300 a night. Now let's talk about the island itself. Grand Cayman is extremely small. You could drive the entire thing in less than an hour, and there's a couple different areas that we want to point out for you guys.
So first up is the most well-known, it's the capital. There's Georgetown, and then right by Georgetown is 7 Mile Beach. You've probably heard of that as well. Very touristy over there. That is where the cruises port, and there's a lot of shopping, a lot of dining. It's very dense.
That's also where a majority of the hotels are going to be up and down 7 Mile Beach, which is no longer 7 miles because of erosion over the last couple years, but is still, in our opinion, one of the most beautiful beaches on the island. Last few times we've been, we have stayed on the north side of the island. It's way more residential. It's very quiet. It's quaint. We would say it feels a little bit more local. It's just a slower pace when you compare it to Georgetown and 7 Mile.
And then the east end of the island is also similar, much more local and residential.
Now let's talk about some absolute must-dos while you are in Grand Cayman. 3 things immediately come to mind, and you can actually accomplish all of them by doing the first, which is renting a boat or booking a private charter. We've used a couple different companies. Most recently, it was Cayman Private Charters. Had an amazing day with them. We've also used Red Sail Sports in the past. They have a ton of different options for booking, but it's incredible to get out on that absolutely crystal clear blue water. And the 2 places that we would recommend that you go while on these private charters or semi-private charters is Stingray City, which is such a cool and unique experience, and then Starfish Point.
So in addition to those must-do activities, there's also a handful of other things that I would highly recommend. One of them being the Bioluminescence. We've done this in years past, and it's basically,
it's really cool.
It's like light up algae in the water. I really don't know how to explain it, but you just have to experience it for yourself. Another very cool thing on the island is the turtle sanctuary. This place is great for families, and we did it a few years past. You can actually snorkel with the turtles and just walk around and learn so much about them.
We aren't big divers ourselves, although we would like to get certified at some point in our life, but people that we talk to say that Grand Cayman has some of the best diving in the world, and there's actually 2 sister islands that they say have even better diving than the main island. This is also the first time we ever came across this, but Grand Cayman on 7 Mile Beach in front of the West End has these jet ski boat convertible car thingies. They just looked really fun. I think they got up to like 60 or 70 miles per hour. One thing to mention that we've never done before, somehow, shockingly, but it is the Cayman Crystal Caves, and they get amazing reviews, and people say they have a really fun time exploring those.
Now, going into some of our favorite restaurants, we're actually gonna do a video that breaks down everywhere we ate in depth, but just high level. We loved Bonny Moon Beach Club. We loved Tillie's on 7 Mile, Tukka East End, and Solis at Rum Point.
And to wrap this up, let's talk about a couple things to keep in mind. The first thing is that Grand Cayman can be very pricey. It's definitely not an affordable island by any means. Food, beverages, gas, everything is going to run a little bit more than you would see in Mexico or even other Caribbean islands. The conversion rate definitely gets you if you're coming with US dollars, because 1 CI is around 1.2 to 1.25 USD, and that starts adding up. And there's also normally an 18 to 20% gratuity added on every single check. Another thing to keep in mind is that Grand Cayman is a very popular cruise port. And so if there's 2 or 3 or 4 ships outside of Georgetown, they'll tender in and drop thousands of people off in the city. So if you are staying on the North End or the East End and you're trying to get to 7 Mile Beach, look up the cruise ship schedules, because it will be very busy if you're trying to drive to 7 Mile Beach when everyone is there shopping and in port. Normally cruise ships will leave 4 or 5 o'clock at the latest. So try to schedule your day around that. We try to avoid all the cruise ship passengers when we're staying on the north side, and we'll just remain up there at the Rum Point Kaibo area.
And lastly, Grand Cayman is such a safe and small little island. I think it's perfect for families. Every time we stay, we have no concerns at all. We highly, highly, highly recommend that you go.